Hello people of the internet, it's Amanda, and today's video I'm gonna talk about my overall thoughts on Touch Your Heart starring Lee Wook and Ina. So as I've mentioned in the first video that I did of this, talking about the first 4 episodes, the first time that I'm talking about a K-drama here on my channel. Not really the first time that I'm gonna watch one, it's just that, as I mentioned, I'm really more of like a J-drama fan, and so talking about a K-drama here on my channel is a step up. And I'm really hoping to talk about more Asian dramas in the future, not just Japan or Korea. So there we go. The final episode of Touch Your Heart wrapped up last night. To be honest, I'm quite sad that I don't have another drama to look forward to again for the coming weeks. But other than that, it's really a refreshing experience to just really stand by every week and look forward to a new episode, and I really like that feeling, and I'm just sad that I'm gonna miss that. It's the same cycle over and over again for someone who loves to watch dramas. I'm sure I'm not the only one who knows the feeling. Now again, just like my other videos, there are gonna be spoilers, so if you don't like that, please click off, but then if you're cool, then let's just get started. I would be referencing a couple of other K-dramas as well for this one in terms of comparisons, but one of the things that I did recently, because I was waiting for episodes of this to come, is to binge watch another K-drama, What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, and it was quite surprising because I just wanted to reference that in terms of how K-dramas are like now when they conduct their modern day dramas, because I've noticed that every single Asian country has their own way of sort of like making their dramas formulaic, and Korea definitely has one, whether it's modern or historical. Same with the Philippines. Japan not so much because they really love their eccentric plot lines, but it's a reason why I wanted to watch like other recent modern day set K-dramas to have something to refer to when I'm talking about Touch Your Heart. The thing is, I do love their historical dramas more, so the modern day dramas that I probably watched recently would be just Weightlifting Fairy Kim Bok-joo and then Goblin, which both have very different setups in a way. Like Bok-joo is more of like this university type of setup. Goblin is a fantasy drama, so I couldn't really like put it in the same place as a modern day setup of, you know, the co-workers dating type of plotline, if you know what I mean, which is, I feel like, something that is very common in K-dramas as well. Like they have a lot of this, and I've seen like a chart that's super funny where it's always like a rich CEO with a stoic personality and then a quirky main lead girl. So this one is a bit refreshing because they steered away from the whole like CEO type of thing, but Lee Dong-wook's character Jung-ruk still has that facade of, you know, this mysterious, cold main lead, and Ina's character is this quirky, refreshing, super nice and pretty, you know, main protagonist, main female protagonist. So the formula is still very present in this one. I do feel like, okay, so here's where the criticism comes in. I cut it off to like episode 4, like my first video, because I thought that the main conflict or the main arc of the story would start from there. At the end of episode 4, they teased the character of Lee Gang Joon, which is the creepy CEO that was the cause behind Oh Yun-so or Oh Jin-shim's scandal. Now, the weird thing about it is that after episode 4, it took us like 4 more episodes after that, or 5 even, at like for him to come back into the picture. Now, I do understand how it is that we need to sort of like develop the love story between the characters of Ina and Lee Dong-wook. It's first and foremost a love story, but I do feel like the suspense went cold after the next episode because Lee Gang Joon didn't become present until around episode 9 or 10, if I'm not mistaken. And I wish that the build up would have been like every single episode, or at least at the end of each episode, we get glimpses of what he's up to, or if he's monitoring the two or something like that. But that wasn't the case, definitely. So when he came back again for episodes 9, 10, and 11, I think that was the span of where his plotline was. It still felt very like it just didn't feel like enough in a way, especially when there's this confrontation, the car chase that happened, and then after the next episode that just felt like meh. And then after that, like, there's this confrontation that he was making a mess inside Yoon-so's apartment, like he was harassing her again, and then Jung-ruk comes to the rescue. And then I was expecting like a lot more from there, considering that, he's this big CEO, he's this creepy guy thing who's capable of all these terrible things. Like, that's how the plot made him seem like. So, and then after that, like, seeing that he was arrested at the at the beginning of like the following episode, and then that seemed like that was it. I don't know, like, I do understand that everything has to be compacted into like 16 episodes, which is one of the things that I absolutely like in Asian dramas in general, because of how they limit the number of episodes. They know exactly where they want to take the plot, unlike Western dramas where they're usually swayed by audience opinions and other factors, or just wanting to extend for more and more and more and more seasons. I like the definite feel of Asian dramas, and their plot lines are usually much more well thought out, or much more cleaner in a way, as compared to like how Western dramas are like. But for this one, I just feel like I expected too much from it. It's probably just me, or I don't know if other people still feel the same, also feel the same thing about it. But I feel like they built up that tension so much, and how it affected, Oh Yoon-so's character, Oh Yoon-so's personality, Oh Yoon-so as a person in general, and how the scandal left her with almost like nothing, her career to shambles, and she's scared all the time. And then for it to suddenly end, or end abruptly in such a way, I don't know, I just felt a bit like that part was lacking for me. And so this is the reason, like, after that, I noticed that it followed a very similar treatment as to how Weightlifting Fairy Kim Bok-joo was like. So there, we got like a arc of a conflict within the plot, and then after that, we went on to have like the other characters experience, or like the other main lead experience his own turn when it comes to like tragedy. Yoon-so's arc in terms of the scandal and everything is over, and so it's time for Jun-ruk to have his time to have, his own problems. It's so bad. But with that, episode 13 and 14, when they were broken up, would probably be my favorite episodes out of the series. Mainly because I do feel like every time we come to that point where we're feeling, or where we want to dabble into other emotions, they immediately bring us back to the romance, which is not that bad, considering that I am getting a lot of kilig factor for this one. This is just a massive kilig fest. But overall, like, I do feel like that in itself just make me miss having other emotions played in as well whenever I'm watching a drama. And so for episodes 13 and 14, they really sort of like stretched out that time that they were not together and that they were broken up. And so in that, it allowed me to feel very sad, very angry, very disappointed for both of them as characters. And so when they reconciled at the end of episode 14, I think, it really gives a satisfactory feeling, which is what I'm talking about. Like, the Lee Gang Joon story arc was made to seem like it was very suspenseful in a way, and then it ended right at the beginning of the next episode, and I wish that they could have stretched that out into a single episode where we feel so much tension within. And that would have made it a bit more satisfying when he got arrested. So yeah, I don't know, like, that they could have done the same treatment for that plot line with how they dealt with when the two main characters broke up. Now, in terms of the other characters in the series, I do feel like, just like any other dramas, we get a glimpse of, like, here other characters to root for. I was definitely a Choi-Dan fan. I loved how those two played out their storyline. One thing that I was a bit like iffy about the entire time was the one with Siwon and Eurum. Like, I love both of them as like supporting characters in a way, but I just felt like it was so unnecessary. I mean, their own tension was a bit so it just felt a bit unnecessary in a way with everything else that was happening. You know, like, it didn't leave me enough room to feel bad for their initial breakup, because it was sort of like inevitable to fall into that path where they're just gonna make up anyway. I don't know, but I just felt like that one was a bit too meh for me. Like, I like how things ended for them, it's just that at the beginning I felt like, what is happening? Last but not least would be episode 16, which is the final episode. Again, because I watched What's Wrong with Secretary Kim and found out that it had the same director, the ending sort of like made sense as to how abrupt it felt, or how it ended on a sort of like, ooh, hi, open-ended sort of thing. I just feel like I expected a bit more from that, like a couple of years later, sort of an epilogue-ish type of ending, I don't know, where, for example, like, Oh Yoon-so announces that she's gonna marry someone, or like we just see an article where they announce that they're gonna get married a couple of years later. I don't know, I just expected something more from that, but I do feel like it was a bit necessary to end it in a way that, okay, we're letting everyone know that we're dating. There's that. They're causing so much fuss about how they couldn't date because it would cause a scandal, it wouldn't help the drama as much, the Oh Yoon-so's new drama as much and stuff. And so, like, okay, so if you could do this anyway, I mean, I'm happy that, like, Lee Dong-wook and Yoo In-na look gorgeous in that final scene. It's just that, yeah, not a lot of words to describe how I feel. One thing I noticed for episode 16 as well is that there are a lot of product placements. I do feel like they finished up a lot of product placements in this one. Like, couldn't you have distributed that in other episodes? There was just a lot for this one. It's quite noticeable, not even subtle in a way, and I don't know, I just find it funny every time they sort of like try to push a product in my face. Definitely this drama isn't perfect. There are a lot of like ups and downs, as I mentioned earlier. There are things that I felt like, oh, I wish they could have done this or done that. And again, it also falls victim to a lot of like how formulaic things are, which is very common among like Asian dramas in general. But as I'm not a professional reviewer, I'm not a critic that does reviews for like websites and I don't know, like the newspaper or something like that. I'm just here for the entertainment factor. And was I entertained? Yes, definitely. Would I watch this again? This would probably be one of those things that I would watch over and over again. I actually have 3 at the moment when it comes to K-dramas. First one would be Weightlifting Fairy Kim Bok-joo. I absolutely love that one. Goblin is next, and then Love in the Moonlight, or Moonlight Drawn by the Clouds. So those 3 things I repeat over and over whenever I just want to watch something and I don't want to think about it. Now I'm adding Touch Your Heart to the list. And yeah, if you just want something that is lighthearted, that would make your heart flutter, would give you that kilig factor that you're looking for, definitely watch this one. I love the chemistry of Lee Dong-wook and Yoo-ina, and I was really happy that they got to do another drama, and I wish they do one again, maybe a couple of years again into the future. If you've seen this drama or if you like it, please tell me down in the comments below. I would absolutely appreciate it if you did. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please hit subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you again soon in a new video. Bye!